Welcome to Random Access. I'm here with Carolyn Knight of the Santa Clara Valley Bird Alliance. Carolyn, can you tell me a bit about the Bird Alliance and your role there?
Of course. I am the Education and Outreach Manager for the Santa Clara Valley Bird Alliance. We were founded in 1925, and for the past 100 years in Santa Clara County, we've been working to protect our local birds, the spaces they rely upon, and getting people outside to enjoy them. My role in the organization is to oversee our public field trips, our collaborations with other organizations, school programs, and our outreach efforts to the public. So I get to work with an amazing team of volunteers who help coordinate and lead these events, and together we're responsible for putting on more than 200 field trips each year for the public, as well as working with about 2,000 students each school year.
Why did the Santa Clara Valley Bird Alliance choose McClellan Ranch as their headquarters? How long have you been there?
Yeah, so we moved to McClellan Ranch in Cupertino in 1991. Prior to that, we didn't actually have an office, but our meetings were hosted in the private residences of members. So in addition to being just a beautiful little park in Cupertino, this site also allows us to act as a meeting location for our members so that they can get together and actually enjoy each other's company outside of the trails. It allows us to host school programs at our office, and it also provides a really wonderful working example of active conservation work in our county.
What's the main mission of the Bird Alliance?
Yeah, the primary goal of the Santa Clara Valley Bird Alliance is to promote the enjoyment, understanding, and protection of birds and other wildlife by engaging people of all ages in birding, education, and conservation. Because if you care about something, that usually means you know about it. So we try to teach in order to convince people that this is something to be valued and shared.
What are your most powerful or impactful community programs?
There's too many to count, but some of my favorites include our flagship education program, the Wetlands Discovery Program. This is a program that is both in class as well as out in the field, and it's been in South Bay classrooms for about 30 years now. So in the classroom, we introduce grades 3 through 5 to the environmental services provided by our wetlands, the wildlife habitat itself, and how humans have shaped the modern day wetlands around the San Francisco Bay. And then they actually get to go outside with us, use binoculars, identify the plants and the animals that they learned about in class, some of whom they actually studied and did projects on. And it lets them do that exploration and apply the things that they've learned in the field itself. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for the students. We're also incredibly proud of our beginner birding field trips. They're an excellent resource for people who are just dipping their toes into birding, but they're a little bit of a smaller group size, and they let folks come into birding, get introduced to birds that they may already be encountering around their home. They have easy access to expert birders on these field trips who will answer any and all questions. And it helps bring them into the community that we're trying to foster of people who enjoy being outside and enjoy these birds.
How do you involve youth and schools in bird education?
Yeah, so there's a wide variety. One of the ways that we do that is obviously by offering STEM programming. It's a very easy thing for us to adapt learning about birds and their habitats and their needs to biology and science classes, but we've also had teachers use birds and the resources we provide to actually build literacy and writing skills. We had an elementary school in Eastside San Jose just last year put together their own field guide of all of the birds and their observations of them. This is a class of first graders. They wrote their own field guide and edited it and everything. And we've also had teachers that use them as inspiration for art projects and things like that. So it really does vary, but we really try to meet our schools where they're at. And a large hurdle for environmental education, particularly environmental education that takes students on field trips so they can actually experience the things they're learning about, is transportation. And so for the schools that are able to afford busing, we will meet them in our open space preserves, places like the Palo Alto Baylands. McClellan Ranch is another really popular field trip location, but also out into the Coyote Valley in the southern portion of our county. But we also offer schools scholarships to help offset busing costs. And if that's just simply not an option, we've also, since COVID, expanded our offerings to field trips within the neighborhoods the schools are at. So we find a local park or a local open space, sometimes it's a creek trail, where we take the students, and that way they can explore these habitats, but it's all within walking distance. So it's a lot easier for the teachers and the schools to arrange.
How do you get volunteers to involve?
Yeah, so it turns out there are a ton of nature lovers in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's probably shouldn't be so much of a surprise. We're in an absolutely gorgeous location. But what we do is we offer them training to build their own base of knowledge, and we invite them to opportunities to then share that knowledge with folks who are interested. And it turns out that when you have people who are really passionate about something like birds, they're very excited about the chance to share that knowledge and share that experience with folks. So we do post our volunteer opportunities on our website. That's scvbirdalliance.org. And our volunteering opportunities can vary. So sometimes it's a longer term commitment, like we ask for with our volunteers who are going to be working in schools and in the classroom with students. But we do occasionally also host things like habitat cleanup days, as well as bird counts that the more casual volunteer who's maybe just available for an afternoon or maybe a weekend can also participate in.
What are some of the biggest challenges facing local bird habitats today?
Yeah, so habitat loss is a very big one, and that can include everything from the complete loss of a habitat, so for example, the paving over of a local pond or a meadow, and it can also include things like habitat degradation. So maybe we didn't just concrete over the entire wild space, but maybe we removed the mature trees that birds and other animals like raccoons or squirrels might have been using to raise their young in. This is also coupled, unfortunately, with the realities of climate change. We're seeing our summers become much hotter and drier. We are seeing unseasonable weather patterns, so things like storms in the middle of the breeding season, where there are chicks that need to be fed every 20 minutes by their parents, but they can't get out because it's raining. And we also see these things interfering with larger scale movements of our wild animals, like migration. Birds that are getting knocked off course by unseasonable winds, or their foods that they rely on to get them through their migrations. These are journeys that can take days, if not weeks. They're traveling by hundreds of miles under their own power. But all of that is very well and good, but they have evolved to expect food resources to be available at specific locations at specific times. And what we're seeing with climate change, as well as with habitat loss, is these birds will arrive to these rest points, and the trees that they were relying on as safe places to roost, to rest, have been removed, or perhaps the food resources they were relying upon just no longer exist there.
What's your vision for the organization in the next few years?
Yeah, we're very excited about the next couple of years. This year we're celebrating our centennial. We're taking the entire month of October to do that, so we're going to have a bunch of special field trips to special locations. We're bringing in a lot of really talented field trip leaders in addition to the already incredible volunteers we already have. But in the month of October, we're going to be really celebrating the community that we've found in this past century. What we have found, and what anyone in environmental studies or conservation work really comes to realize is you can't do it all alone. And so we've been really lucky to be able to build these partnerships with fellow organizations, everything from our fellow birders with the San Francisco Bay Bird Observatory or the Golden Gate Bird Alliance, organizations like the Open Space Authority or the Peninsula Open Space Trust, and we've been able to build this really wonderful network of people who are just interested in caring about and protecting our environment and sharing that with others. So we're going to continue to offer our LGBT plus safe spaces. We are increasing our opportunities for families with young kids to get outside with us and enjoy nature. And we're also looking to expand our bilingual field trip offerings. So at the moment, we've got a really strong Mandarin language team, but we're looking to expand that into Vietnamese as well as Spanish.
Thank you very much, Carolyn, for an interesting and informative look into the world of birding. Stay with us for our next segment of Random Access. Welcome back to Random Access. Now I'm talking to Grace Trafton from Cupertino TV Productions. Grace, can you tell us about your connection to Cupertino?
My name is Grace Trafton, and although I'm not a resident of Cupertino, and I have never worked there, I'm very much connected to the city because I have belonged to a volunteer organization called Cupertino TV Productions for about 12 years. Time flies when you're having fun. Cupertino TV Productions is a 501c3 nonprofit organization engaged in producing shows on public access community media TV stations in the Bay Area and also on YouTube. And our meetings are held bi-monthly at the Cupertino Senior Center.
Tell us a little bit about your background.
I've worked in human resources for most of my career in Silicon Valley at companies such as National Semiconductor, AMD, Applied Materials, and others. When I retired early from my working life, I looked for volunteer work that would fill up my leisure time and keep me fully engaged with the world. I ended up conducting driver safety classes for AARP and facilitating a health education workshop at Kaiser. And after about 5 years, I started to find that teaching the same materials was very, very repetitive. So I started looking for interesting new volunteer opportunities, but without much success.
How did you become involved with CTVP?
During that time, I belonged to a mahjong group of about 8 or 9 people at the Cupertino Senior Center. It's a game I still love playing. I'm kind of addicted to it. 3 of the mahjong players were members of Cupertino TV Productions, and I used to hear them talk about the shows they were involved with. It sounded really, really fascinating. But since I had absolutely no related experience, and I'm not a very technical person, I didn't think I could join such a group. The 3 members assured me that no related experience was necessary, and that none of them had any previous experience involving TV shows. So finally, when I became desperate to find new volunteer opportunities, I decided to bite the bullet and join CTVP. And it turns out that this is the most interesting volunteer job I've ever had. It's a continual learning experience.
Can you tell us a bit about Cupertino TV Productions?
CTVP was founded in 1983 by a group of seniors taking TV production classes at De Anza College. Since then, CTVP has produced over 1,250 shows and have won a number of regional and national awards. Our wide-ranging show topics have ranged from diabetes prevention to AI, among countless other topics. In addition, we have also produced many shows related to the city of Cupertino, such as the Cupertino Cherry Blossom Festival, Cupertino Historical Society, Public Art in Cupertino, Cupertino Rotary Club, and several more. Our goal is to entertain, educate, and enlighten our viewers. We're always looking for new members. Our only requirements are that you are age 50 or over and you are willing to join the Cupertino Senior Center. Please check out our website at CupertinoTVProductions.com or contact the Cupertino Senior Center at 408-777-3150. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. We're really interested in hearing about Cupertino TV Productions, and I hope that this show can help you get some members. We'll be right back in a moment.